The silent enemy within. There is a silent enemy within you, one that doesn't scream or strike, but slowly poisons your inner world with whispers of inadequacy, fear, and despair. Picture, if you will, standing in a once magnificent garden that has become overrun with thorns and weeds. The soil that should nourish your dreams has been contaminated by years of unchecked negative thinking, turning your mind into a wasteland where nothing beautiful can grow. Every morning, you wake hoping to see roses, but instead, you're greeted by the same twisted vines of self-doubt that have strangled your aspirations for far too long. This is the reality for countless souls who have unknowingly surrendered their mental sovereignty to destructive thought patterns. Like seeds scattered by an invisible hand, negative thoughts take root in the fertile darkness of our unconscious minds, growing stronger with each passing day until they dominate the entire landscape of our inner experience. What began as fleeting moments of worry or criticism has evolved into an internal dictator that governs every decision, every dream, every possibility for joy. But here's what your destructive mind doesn't want you to know: this garden can be reclaimed. The thorns can be uprooted. The soil can be restored. And you, yes, you, have the power to become the master gardener of your own consciousness. In this video, you will embark on a profound exploration that will fundamentally shift how you understand and relate to your own mind. You will learn to recognize the destructive patterns that have been silently sabotaging your potential, discover the Jungian principles that unlock true psychological freedom, and master practical techniques for transforming negative thought patterns into sources of strength. This journey will teach you not merely to suppress dark thoughts, but to integrate them consciously, turning your inner shadow into an ally for growth. By the end, you will possess both the understanding and the tools to reclaim sovereignty over your mental landscape and step into the fullest expression of who you are meant to become. The architecture of self-destruction. Understanding how negative thoughts construct their prison around us requires us to peer into the shadow, that realm Carl Jung described as containing all the parts of ourselves we have rejected, denied, or simply failed to acknowledge. Your negative thinking patterns are not random occurrences, they are the shadow's way of protecting you from perceived threats, even when those threats exist only in the realm of possibility. Consider how a single thought, "I'm not good enough," becomes the cornerstone of an entire mental architecture designed to keep you small. This thought doesn't remain isolated, it calls to its companions: "People will reject me, I always fail, nothing ever works out for me." Soon, these thoughts form a complex belief system that filters every experience through the lens of limitation and fear. The shadow thrives in unconsciousness. When we remain unaware of these patterns, they operate like invisible puppeteers, pulling the strings of our emotions, behaviors, and choices. We find ourselves sabotaging opportunities just as they begin to bloom, pushing away love when it approaches, and choosing paths that confirm our worst suspicions about ourselves and the world. Jung understood that what we resist persists, and what we deny grows stronger in the darkness. The negative thoughts we try to suppress don't disappear, they multiply, feeding off our resistance like flames consuming oxygen. This is why positive thinking alone fails so spectacularly. It's like trying to paint over rust without addressing the corrosion beneath. The price of mental tyranny. The cost of allowing destructive thoughts to rule your inner kingdom is nothing less than the forfeiture of your authentic life. Watch closely as these patterns weave their web. You begin to make decisions not based on your true desires, but on avoiding the disapproval of your internal critic. You choose the safe path over the meaningful one, the familiar cage over the unknown freedom, the slow death of conformity over the vibrant chaos of authentic self-expression. This mental tyranny creates what Jung called a provisional life, an existence where you perpetually postpone real living, waiting for some future moment when you'll finally be worthy, ready, or deserving enough to pursue what truly matters. Meanwhile, days turn to years, and years to decades, all spent serving a master that exists only in the realm of thought. The tragedy deepens when we realize that this suffering is largely self-imposed. We are both prisoner and jailer, victim and perpetrator. The very thoughts we believe are protecting us from pain are actually the source of our deepest anguish. They promise safety but deliver stagnation. They offer certainty but rob us of possibility. They whisper of wisdom while leading us towards spiritual and emotional bankruptcy. Yet within this recognition lies the seed of liberation. For if we are the architects of our own mental prison, we also possess the blueprints for our freedom. Before we continue, I'd love to take a moment to sincerely thank you for being part of this journey toward personal beauty and endless growth. Your support truly means the world to me. If you enjoyed the content, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this video with others who might find it helpful. Your engagement is what keeps this channel growing and allows me to continue creating content for you. Now let's get back to the video. The alchemy of shadow integration. Jung's revolutionary insight was that psychological wholeness doesn't come from eliminating our darkness, but from consciously integrating it. The negative thoughts that plague you are not enemies to be destroyed, but aspects of your psyche that have been exiled and are now demanding attention. They carry messages, often twisted and distorted, about your deepest fears, unmet needs, and unlived potentials. The process of shadow integration begins with what Jung called making the unconscious conscious. This means developing the courage to turn toward your negative thoughts with curiosity rather than judgment. Instead of immediately trying to change or suppress them, you begin to observe them with the detached fascination of a scientist studying a new species. When the thought "I'm a failure" arises, instead of battling it or believing it, you might ask, what is this thought trying to protect me from? What experience is it trying to help me avoid? What part of me feels vulnerable right now? This shift from reactive to responsive, from unconscious to conscious, transforms your relationship with your own mind from one of warfare to one of wise stewardship. The shadow contains not only your fears and insecurities, but also your unlived potentials, the parts of yourself you've deemed too dangerous, too powerful, or too unconventional to express. Often, the very qualities we most harshly judge in ourselves are actually strengths that have been distorted by shame or fear. The person who criticizes themselves for being too sensitive may be denying their natural empathy. The one who calls themselves selfish for having boundaries may be refusing to honor their legitimate needs. Awakening the inner warrior. Within your psyche lives what Jung described as the archetype of the warrior, not the one who conquers others, but the one who has the courage to face the truth of their own being. This inner warrior doesn't fight against the darkness, it learns to dance with it. It doesn't deny negative thoughts, it transforms them through conscious awareness and compassionate action. Awakening this warrior consciousness requires cultivating what Buddhists call mindful awareness, the ability to observe your thoughts without being consumed by them. Picture yourself sitting by a river, watching leaves float by on the current. Each leaf represents a thought, some beautiful, some ugly, some peaceful, some disturbing. The wisdom lies not in trying to stop the river or control which leaves appear, but in remembering that you are not the leaves, nor even the river. You are the eternal witness, the consciousness that observes it all. This warrior learns to ask different questions. Instead of "why do I keep having these terrible thoughts?" the warrior asks, "what can these thoughts teach me about what I truly need and desire?" Instead of "how can I make this feeling go away?" the warrior inquires, "what is this feeling trying to show me about my relationship with myself and the world?" The inner warrior also develops what Jung called active imagination, the ability to consciously engage with the images and symbols that arise from the unconscious. You might visualize yourself as a gardener, tenderly removing the weeds of negative thinking while planting seeds of possibility and self-compassion. Or you might imagine yourself as an alchemist, transforming the lead of destructive thoughts into the gold of wisdom and understanding. The daily practice of mental sovereignty. Reclaiming your mind is not a one-time event but a daily practice, a continuous choosing of consciousness over unconsciousness, awareness over reactivity, love over fear. Each morning, you have the opportunity to set the tone for your inner environment. Instead of immediately checking your phone or rushing into the demands of the day, take a few moments to check in with your mental garden. What thoughts are trying to take root today? Which ones deserve your attention and cultivation? Throughout the day, practice what Jung called circumambulation, the process of walking around a problem or challenge rather than rushing straight at it. When negative thoughts arise, don't immediately engage in battle. Instead, pause. Breathe. Create space between the thought and your reaction to it. In that space lies your power to choose a different response. Develop the habit of reframing your internal dialogue from criticism to curiosity. Instead of "I can't believe I made that mistake again," try "I'm noticing I'm being hard on myself right now. What would be more helpful in this moment?" Instead of "I never do anything right," experiment with "I'm learning and growing, and making mistakes is part of that process." Create rituals that support your mental sovereignty. Perhaps it's a morning meditation where you consciously choose your intentions for the day. Maybe it's an evening practice where you review your thoughts and emotions with compassion, celebrating moments of awareness and gently noting areas for growth without judgment. The ripple effect of transformation. As you begin to reclaim sovereignty over your mind, something miraculous happens. The transformation extends far beyond your individual experience. Like a stone thrown into still water, the ripples of your awakening consciousness touch every relationship, every interaction, every aspect of your life. Others begin to notice something different about you, a calmness where there once was chaos, a confidence where there once was insecurity, a presence where there once was distraction. You become living proof that change is possible, that the human spirit need not be enslaved by destructive thought patterns, that we all possess the capacity for profound psychological and spiritual freedom. Your transformation gives others permission to examine their own mental gardens. Your courage to face your shadow inspires them to turn toward their own darkness with curiosity rather than fear. Your journey from victim to victor becomes a beacon of hope for anyone who has ever felt trapped by their own mind. This is how consciousness spreads, not through preaching or teaching, but through embodying the very transformation we wish to see in the world. Your personal healing becomes a gift to the collective human consciousness, adding your unique thread to the tapestry of awakening that our species so desperately needs. The call to heroic action. The time for postponing your psychological freedom has ended. The familiar excuses, "I'm too old to change," "This is just how I am," "My problems are too complex," are nothing more than the death rattle of an old identity that no longer serves you. You stand at the threshold of a new way of being, and the only thing required is your willingness to step forward. Begin today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel more ready, today. Choose one negative thought pattern that has been your loyal companion for too long, and commit to observing it with conscious awareness for the next 7 days. Notice when it arises, what triggers it, how it makes you feel, and what it's trying to protect you from. Don't try to change it yet, simply bring the light of your attention to what has been lurking in the shadows. Remember that you are not broken and do not need fixing. You are a magnificent being who has temporarily forgotten your own power. You are not the victim of your thoughts, you are the consciousness that can observe, understand, and ultimately transform them. You are not at the mercy of your past conditioning, You are the author of your future experience. The garden of your mind is waiting for your return. The weeds may seem overwhelming at first, but beneath them lies the richest soil you could ever imagine, soil that has been composted by every experience you've ever had, every tear you've ever shed, every moment of doubt you've ever endured. This soil is ready to nourish whatever you choose to plant. So plant wisely. Plant thoughts of possibility where limitation once grew. Plant seeds of self-compassion where self-criticism once flourished. Plant visions of your highest potential where old stories of inadequacy once took root. Your mind is not your master, you are its gardener. And today is the perfect day to begin cultivating the inner landscape you've always dreamed of inhabiting. The only question that remains is, what will you choose to grow?